15-month-old Benton is the spitting image of his father, a U.S. soldier who died in Iraq 2 years before his son was born. Interesting.
Wow. He
Yeah.
looks just like him?
Yeah, this person died before his son was born. He died 2 years before his son was born. How did that
How
happen?
is that possible?
Well, I'll tell you. He had his semen frozen before he was deployed. And
I see.
so he said, I'm going to war.
Not a bad idea.
He said,
if
I'm
you're
going to
married and
war.
going over to war, you never know what might happen.
It's pretty scary that you have to think like that, though.
It is. We shouldn't, bring it back to the war. We shouldn't have to live our lives, as what if. What if I die tomorrow? What if? I never want to think like that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that a lot of our young people in America, 18, 19, 20 years old, over in Iraq holding AK-47s being shot at and bombed at.
My husband and I had talked about the probability of needing to do in vitro fertilization because I already had a fertility issue. And then he went to Iraq. So, okay, so she didn't really... It wasn't really because...
That's got to be a tough decision, though. Like,
yeah.
if he did that, and then his wife finds out he's dead, and then has a kid with the father who the kid's never gonna see. I mean, it's great that she's having a baby with the guy that she loved, obviously.
How strong must she be, man?
That's gonna be a tough thing to explain to your kid when he gets to be 12, 13, 14 years old and wonders what happened to his father, and she has to explain to him that he went to this war that didn't really help the country out very much.
Yeah, of course she would say, he died fighting for,
he proudly
all
fought
the
for his
freedoms
country.
the son has.
But
I'll tell you, a lot of
unfortunate.
these soldiers are not proudly fighting. A lot of these soldiers, you don't hear much of it on the news, but I've heard quite a few different stories about these soldiers coming out, even being charged with mutiny because of their views at certain situations in this war. They're so drastic. They get charged with mutiny for leaving a war they don't agree with, and that's, treason. As a matter of fact, a person in a military academy was actually sending emails about how he disagrees with, 9/11 or whatever political things that he was studying, but they actually kicked him out of the academy. And then, they tried to bust him on that particular, treasonous act. Now, it's interesting, this whole democracy thing, that we vote, but it's pretty easy to see that there really isn't too much to this two-party system. It's like one or the other, and it wouldn't be too hard, Craiga, for the corporations to completely influence both sides.
We have President Bush killing. I don't know. I can't say killing.
Of course not.
He's sending
to death.
Our friends of ours that I know that have gone over there and have served the country. They've either got hurt. A good friend of ours, Steve I, has a Purple Heart, was wounded in action. Yeah. And I don't really see any good that came out of it.
Well, Craiga, when's the last time you were attacked by a terrorist?
Never.
See, we're doing good in the war, right? Right? Doesn't that make sense? But what exactly are we getting done over there? If you look at the grand scheme since the beginning of the war and now where we are in the war now, what has changed in Iraq? You know what I'm saying? Or even in the whole Middle East.
I don't think anything.
Nothing. Civilians' lives have gone down. What? They're setting up. They're taking the time to help set up their government now and a democracy just like America.
But is that helping them?
How could it?
I don't think that's helping them at all. I think, if anything, it's helping our government people.
Yeah.
The people that are running our country, it's helping their pockets.
So would it be fair to say, what you just concluded, Craig, I'll paraphrase what you just concluded, the corporations are controlling the political structures and sending kids to war?
I don't know.
You saw the planes. Everyone saw them.
I did, but I still am very skeptical.
Abdul Jamahid was flying the plane, even though that day Dick Cheney, who's actually running war simulations with NORAD, even though that day he decided to take control of all those war simulations, and it made the situation that morning terrible. George Bush Sr. was having a meeting with the bin Laden family to discuss the financial endeavors of the Carlyle Group.